everyone, welcome to Watercolor Wednesday. I am Bonnie Krebs, creator of Watercolor the Art Impressions Way, and this week we're going to work our way through our new exclusive set. So this watercolor set is our 2018 exclusive set, and it is not for sale. It is only available in the watercolor classes that we teach across the country. So check out our website and see if we're going to be in your town, or give our 800 number a call and see where we are. So we are a lot of places across the country. The exclusive set is free with the class, so that's the only way that you can get it. So we're going to work our way through it. A lot of you have already taken the class and own this set, so I always tell those who take in the class that this is a collector, so don't lose the packaging, hang on to it. At the end of 2018 we break that mold and we do not make these anymore. So this is a collector, so those of you who have had a chance to take the class and have this set, you're going to love it. I love it. This might be my favorite one. This is my third year of doing this, and I really think this might be my favorite. So we are going to use several things in this set. This is one basic image here, so it includes the little window and the branch. It also comes with the apple and the little cherries, and also this is a wisteria, or you could turn it around. It could be a lilac. It could be lots of different things depending on where you place it. So it's super versatile. Also comes with this little squirrel. So lots of really fun ways to use this set. And of course it'll work with everything that you already have. So I'm going to use it as wisteria in this composition. Super easy, and I'm going to show you how to put this together. So let's get going. The first thing we're going to do is stamp that basic image. So it is all-inclusive. That little branch and the window are all part of the same stamp, but we are going to ink them differently. So we're going to start out with sepia over the whole thing. So sepia is that number 45, so that earthy color. And it's got some green in it, and it really looks just like the outside. So kind of the color of dirt. That's really what it looks like. So we're going to start out by inking that entire thing with number 45. Now I'm going to go to a number 72 pine green, and I'm just going to go back over the branches. So just the branches. Just going to go over that, and then over the window. So over the window I'm going to use the number 86. So African violet. I use this combination a lot, but it's just such a great, works so well in getting that gray neutral tone that just starts out every project. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp it in the middle of my paper. So about there, good even pressure, so not too hard. Don't just mash that stamp into your watercolor paper. And by the way, be sure you're using watercolor paper for these projects. So let's go ahead and pull that color out of the line. So we're going to start out with the window. Make sure you pinch your brush off, so I can see I got a little too much water to start out, and just drag this color out. Just pull it out of the lines. You can see there's a good mix of color in here, so we're getting a really nice neutral gray tone, and just kind of drag this color out. The idea is that we get a three-dimensional image. That's always what we're going for. And we really don't have to do a lot to start. We'll just start out with this basic idea. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We can always come back to this later. Notice I didn't do anything with the branch yet. I'm going to add my foliage to that branch, and then we'll mix that color together once I've done that. So I'm using, actually, I should go back and tell you what else we're going to need with this set. So in addition to the exclusive set, sorry about that, we're going to use the foliage set. So two items out of here. So this little foliage right here and this one. And then in the branches set, just this little guy right here. So those are the only things that we're going to need with this set. Okay, so back to our foliage, and I'm going to ink this and just kind of continue these branches. You can see they kind of end and cut off. So I'm just kind of extending those areas. And you want to get that in there a bunch of times. So really stamp that in there several times, not just one time. So you want to get in there at least 2 or 3 times. And we're going to hang those wisteria down. So I want to get enough foliage across here so that they have room to hang. I want to hang those down. Super fun. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've got enough foliage in there, so I'm going to now add some water to that. And I can just blend all this together now. So remember, you're just jumping your brush around. You're not really painting anything. We're just jumping our brush around and softening the lines that we've just stamped. So super easy. Make sure you pinch your brush so you get most of the water off. And when I pinch my brush, it's pretty much flat. So I pinch the water off and you can see that it's pretty much flat. So I don't want to get too much water on here. Too much water is going to, it's going to give us an image that has kind of lost all of its definition. So we want to soften the lines, but we don't want to lose the lines. We still want to see that, the image of the leaf. We just kind of want to blend it out and make it soft. Okay, so now I'm just kind of going over these little branches with my brush. You can see how that green and that sepia blend together, give a really, really nice color. And you can blend out as much of this as you want. You know, if you like that really soft watercolor image, just keep blending. Just keep blending this color out until you've lost most of the white areas. And you'll get a totally different look. I'm usually in a hurry, so I usually don't blend out all the white out. I do kind of like more definition, and so I like to see some white in there, but mostly it's because I'm always in a hurry and I want to get done quickly. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and put in our wisteria, and that would be this little guy right here. So let me just show you how this works, because there are a couple ways that you can do this. The first way is to make it small if you're using it in the background, and just stamp it in a couple of times. So just like this. The other way, if you want to bring it closer, is to stamp it once and then up above again a half a step. So let me show you that again. So once and then up above a half a step. So you can make these longer just by the way that you stamp them. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to bring them down a little bit because this window is fairly small and I want to really see these wisteria. I want them to be big and full. So I'm just hanging them off the branches. And I can hang one down over the window. And you can put as much of this in as you want to. This is totally up to you. Just whenever you think it looks good enough, you can stop. Don't be afraid to ink a single one if you want to do that. And get those light ones in the background. Let's just do a couple more here. I just love this stuff, and it's just so fun to stamp. And so sometimes my compositions look a little overdone, but I think that's okay too. Okay, so now we're going to soften these lines, and these are tiny little dots, so you really want to be careful that you are just softening the lines, not blending them out. So in other words, you don't want something like this. Let me show you, where you are pinching your brush off and you end up with an image that looks like this. Okay, we don't want that. We want to just soften the line so that we can see that this is wisteria and we can see the definition of the flowers. If you get too much pigment on your brush and you can see that you're starting to get too much color, just clean it off and start again. And just keep going. Get those light ones too, you know, those ones that are in the background, get those too. They just kind of fade out into the background, but they're really important because we want to see that three-dimensional image. So dark things in the front and light things in the back. It just works. It really does. And the more that you play with these, the better at it you're going to get. Okay, I think we have got our little wisteria in here. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to now put in that little squirrel right into the window here. And I'm going to use my positioner because I want to make sure I don't have him floating off somewhere. So I'm going to just stamp him into the corner. So I'm going to ink him with the sepia. Just ink him all up just like this. And then stamp it into the corner. So I've placed my little shield into the corner and I'm going to stamp it right into the corner just like that. And now I can see exactly where I want to put him. And huff on my stamp. And stamp it back in here again. So just like that. And the first thing we want to do always is darken the eye. It's so important when you're doing these little critters, and maybe his little nose too. It really helps to pop that little character out. So now I'm going to pull this color out of the lines. I'll keep his little belly white. And his little tail, we want to see a highlight on the top of his back and on the top of his tail. And always remember to keep his face light. So not a lot of color by his eyes. And I'm going to just add a little more color now, a little more sepia to my palette, and maybe a little black. And I usually don't use black, but I feel like this little squirrel needs a little bit of gray on his tail. So really, really wash this out so that you don't get too much color. That's the thing about a palette, you know, using a palette and a marker is you can really water these colors down so that you don't get too much pigment. And you can control that color so easily just by how much water. And then, you know, another pass is going to make it darker. So you can come back in again once that's dry and get a little more color in here. And I think I will really darken this little ear in here. And I'm gonna do a little freehand thing. So I'm gonna put a little nut under his paws. So just a little acorn. Don't be stressed out by this. So it's just got a little wider top. And then a little rounded bottom. And this here would be pretty dark. So let's add a little brown to it. I never want you to be intimidated by freehand things. You know, it doesn't take much to freehand something and just add a little detail. If you don't have a stamp for it, it's okay. Just freehand a little nut in his little paws right there. And I can actually put a little more of this brown in. Kind of like that color. That looks pretty good. Okay, we've got our little squirrel in the window. That looks good. So let's go on and do our detail. So I'm going to add this is a number 86, the fine tip, and I'm going to make a little detail in the window. So just some little scallops like this. Just right here in the window, just with my fine tip. That was the number 86. And now I'm going to dip my brush in water and pinch it off and take this color and drag it down. So this is that color that I drew in. This is an African violet. I'm just going to drag it down so that it gets really light. So just pull this down and drag it down into this area. Okay, and you should have a little blue on here so that you can make just a few lines into your little curtain. So just like that, looks pretty good. You can add some detail in here if you want to. Up to you. And we've got a little curtain in there. So let's just add something more into the window. So maybe a little plant that's growing in the background. So here's that little tiny foliage from the foliage set, and I'm using the 15 green. And I'm just gonna stamp this in here really lightly in the background a couple times. And dip my brush and just drag this color up. Super light. and super easy. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just pulling a little more color out of these lines just so that I get some shadows going in here. And I think there's only one thing left to do, and that is to add the color to the wall. So we want to make sure that we can see that this is against a wall, so not just freestanding somewhere. So that's up to you what color you want to use. I'm using 43 yellow. I don't use yellow very often, and I thought, you know what? I think it's about time I use yellow on something. And yellow and purple, they work so well together, so I thought this might be really cute. And I really like it. So experiment with color. You can put any color onto this wall. You can leave it white as well. And if you want to leave it white, just drag some of the color out so that you get a little shadow behind. And remember, it's just the idea of it. Just the idea that there's a yellow wall behind this little window. And it's okay that I get a little green mixed into it. That's perfectly fine. The more times I go over it, the darker it's going to get. And just keep brushing it in. Super easy. Don't ever get stressed out about stuff like this. Don't ever get stressed out about these projects. They're supposed to be fun and easy. I mean, the whole point of these things is that they take about 10 or 15 minutes. Really, that's the whole reason that the watercolor this way is so fun to do, is because it's quick and easy, and it doesn't take a lot of stamps. It doesn't take a lot of markers. And you should be able to just do it really quickly and go. And that means very low stress. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think I am ready to sign and date. And this little guy is finished. Try it as a lilac, going straight up. You can try it as a grape, you know, a cluster of grapes. That would work too. So super versatile. Check out our website and see where we're going to be so that you can get this in the class. You will love the class, by the way. If you've never taken a watercolor class, it's really, really helpful. Some of you, I know, have bought these stamps and maybe never tried them. And, you know, getting that stamp in your hand and going through the class is really, really helpful. And when you have finished that 2 hours, you are going to be a pro, I promise. It's very structured and it's a lot of information, and I think that if you've never taken a class, try to get into one in your area. You won't regret it. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it, and I will see you all next week.